Welcome to our Cleancast today. Thanks for joining us. I've entitled this session Creative Recruiting. You know, just about everywhere that I go these days, everybody I talk to says, I just can't find any help. I talked to one gentleman just the other day who said, I've quit selling because I can't get people to even fill the slots I have. And so I started asking a few questions, and the truth of the matter is he wasn't being very creative in how he was trying to find people. He just thought they should come. Here I am, and I got a little testy with the gentleman, and he with me. And but the fact is that you have to be creative, and I'm not suggesting at all it's easy, because it isn't. But we have to be creative, and we have to be aggressive in how we go find those people. I have a session coming up in a later podcast about can't find companies either. So, and I'll let you think about that one. But so how are you finding people? You know, it's interesting because there are ways now that are being used to find people that weren't even in existence a few years ago. You know, Facebook, LinkedIn, Indeed, Craigslist, and it goes on and even on some more. One more on ought to do it. But these didn't even exist a few years ago, did they? And I hear various success stories about, when I find everybody on Facebook, and the next one I find everybody on Craigslist. And that's fine. Wherever it works, that's where you want to go. But here are some other things that have worked and that have existed and maybe have got lost in the translation or in the shuffle, because these are some of those that we used and they really worked. And one is just specific neighborhood recruiting. We use things like door hangers. We still get door hangers at my house for stuff, but door hangers. And then there was there's the penny saver. They're called different things in different parts of the world. Penny saver, penny power, the nickel. I remember some of them were called the nickel. And so you can place ads in those. And the nice thing about most of those is you can place the ad by neighborhood. And if you've done a good job of placing putting down what employees you do have available for work, and compared that with where the jobs are that you have to fill, then you can see that there may be some disparity in that. But over here where these buildings are that you need help cleaning, you can maybe buy that section of the weekly newspaper in penny power, penny saver, nickel, whatever they're called. And we kind of got a little bit creative with some of the ads we ran in those, and it brought people in. I just happened to, I'll just read a couple to you that we used. And here was one that we were looking for cleaning techs, and we were looking for seasoned part-time and full-time supervisors. We said, business is booming, and we put it in, I don't know if you can see that, but we boxed it in a box and said, business is booming. And again, you're placing that not in the newspaper that charges you an arm and a leg, but in a daily or a weekly area or a neighborhood paper, which is much, much more reasonable. It says, we have excellent opportunities for cleaning technicians and seasoned supervisor on a part-time, full-time basis. Hours are flexible, growth is realistic, training is provided, and wages and benefits are very competitive. Discuss a future with a proven leader in the building services industry. Our interview hours on these positions are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 9 to 1 p.m. on Saturday. Pre-employment drug screen required. And then we put our name, our address, no phone number. Now, there are a couple things you might have noticed in that ad. 8 to 8 and 9 to 1 on Saturdays. We live in we work a lot of part-time people, don't we? And some of you out there, probably it's 100%, other than your management staff. And it always just, I never could understand. We're in this business of hiring part-time people that come to work from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night, or 5:30 to 9:30, somewhere in that area. And they're working another job. But we close our office at 5 o'clock. So if they want a job with us, they have to take off of their probably higher paying job, and probably more along to this point, more time involved. They have to take off of that job to come down and apply for a job that, like I said, pays probably a lot less, or at least less. Does that make sense? Why would they do that? They have to lie. They have to say, I'm going home sick, or they have to take vacation to come down and spend time. Why aren't we open till 7 or 8 at night? So that when they get off at 5 o'clock or 4, if they're working a factory job, they're usually off by 3:30 or 4 because they go earlier. And if we're open till 7 or 8, gives them an opportunity. And you can even put in your ad, and after you get off of first shift, come down and see us. We're here till 8 o'clock. Think about that. Then you get we had ads, we did quite a few prestigious corporate offices. And I had one corporate office that I had a lady there that worked for me for years. And she finally retired. I mean, she was in her 70s, but every time she tried to retire, I talked her out of it. And she was just beloved by the executive wing. But she finally said, I gotta quit. So we wrote an ad something like this. Mary doesn't work here anymore. For over 10 years, Mary cleaned the prestigious offices of a major corporation in downtown, and we put the city, from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Monday through Friday. Mary not only cleaned the offices, but was able to project the professional image our company desires to project. Are you our next Mary? If you think you can follow in Mary's footsteps, please apply between 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then again the same stuff. Equal opportunity, male, female, all that. So what we were saying there is we wanted a mature person. In today's environment, you can't say, I want somebody over 50 to come clean these offices. Everybody has an equal opportunity to apply. But when we do say things like, Mary doesn't work here anymore, she projected a professional image, she got along well, you've got all these other things. A lot of the people who don't want to do that kind of thing don't even apply. And I will tell you, in this particular ad, I was personally involved in this one years ago. We got about I can think of 3 people that we hired off of that. We hired the Mary, but we also hired a couple of other people in different positions that were super. And one of them became an area supervisor for us eventually. But ads like that bring the kind of people that you want. You have to be very careful how you word it. But in this case, we didn't say you had to be young or be old. We just said, she cleaned this corporate building, and are you our next Mary? Here's what we expect. So just a couple of thoughts on creative, what I call creative ads that you can put into a penny power, a penny saver, or whatever. And then, of course, one that's come along in recent years that I've seen personally are going to the weekend flea markets. And you can buy those booths and rent those booths and put in all your application, all your stuff there. And again, you could even put an ad in the penny power and say, come see us at the Windjammer flea market this weekend on Saturday and Sunday or whatever. And then there's another group that I fit into, and that's the over 55 group, if you haven't pursued those. And I talked to a gentleman the other day who said, I went after those and I hired some, but some of them are really slow. And my response was, are they there every day? Yeah, they're there every day. They stay how long it takes to would you rather trade that off on or for somebody who's there 2 days a week and you got to find a fill-in. Maybe slow is better. Being slow and there every day means a lot. So he hadn't thought about it that way. But anyway, the over 55, and there, as you know, as you may know, and if you don't, I'm telling you now, there are over 55 placement agencies in most cities that their job is to find work for people over 55 who want to work, many of them just part-time. And, you know, one of the things that you're seeing more and more of is fast food. If you go to a McDonald's at 6 a.m., chances are at 6 a.m. you're going to find mostly mature, older people. I'm not suggesting over 55, but there'll certainly be not teenagers. And the reason McDonald's does that is they found that if you tell somebody of the older generation to be there on Saturday morning at 5:30 to get breakfast ready, they'll be there. Some of the younger generation, this is not an indictment here, but many of the younger generations will not be there because they had a football game the night before, or maybe a frat party or something, and they're not going to make it. So, and then the last thing, I think I've touched on this, and then that is, when are you open for interviews? You noticed in my ads I had 8 to 8. I even had 9 to 1 on Saturdays. I can go into a lot of detail on other things that you could do, but I won't at this point. But in my opinion, saying to somebody, we're only going to interview from 8 to 5, or worse yet, I've seen companies who say we only interview from 2 to 4, or 1 to 3 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay, how bad do you need help? That's usually the ones that tell me they can't find help. Remember, you're trying to prospect for gold here. And when you're prospecting for gold, you got to go where the gold is, and when the gold will come to you. And if the gold will come to you at 6 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock at night, then we better be open and prepared for them. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. So think about it. Think about recruiting. Think about being creative in your recruiting. It will pay off. Thanks for joining us today. See you next time.